This is dedicated to the homies that was down since day one. Welcome to Drop D.
Welcome to Quick Hits, a JFK assassination news and notes podcast with your hosts, Bob Clark and Doug Campbell.
Hey, what's shaking? Welcome, guys, to Quick Hits, a JFK assassination research news and notes podcast. My name is Doug Campbell. I am but 50% of your assigned podcast hosts. Please welcome the other half of your No BS Zone crew, my good friend, Mr. Rob Clark. What up, buddy?
That's right. It's me. It's the Triple B. What's up, Doug?
Same old stuff, man. How have you been, sir, in the month since we last spoke on the air?
Oh, dude, I have been busy, sir. Busy. This whole year's been busy, really. Cranking out Lone Gunman every week, and doing other research and getting the Lancer presentation together. It's been a busy year, man. And I'll be glad when this some bitch is over.
It has been a busy year. And to listeners of the Dallas action, I apologize for the 3-month hiatus. I meant to take a break in September, Rob, but I've been very busy on the other side of life. Work's been incredibly busy.
That's quite all right. You know, you're still keeping me entertained. I just listened to your interview with Bart. That's how far behind I am in my podcast listening. So,
okay.
I haven't noticed a hiatus yet. So,
so I'm right on time, basically, is what you're telling me for you.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, good. Well, then I don't feel bad at all. I'm thinking about maybe, talking to a few people while I'm at Lancer for like 10, 15 minutes and putting a show together at the end of November. If I can, wrap my head around the concept enough. We'll see. But, hey, you want to, speaking of Lancer, we have some updates about the upcoming conference. You want to pass that along to everybody?
Yep, we got some important news about Lancer, folks, so turn up your hearing aids. Let's go.
Gentlemen, if I may interrupt. Hey, Bob.
Yes, Momo.
You try to blow that mic or talking to it. Back up over here. Oh.
Hey, God.
I think he means you're too close to the mic, Rob.
He's going to get too close to my fist in a minute. He keeps fucking with me.
Hey,
guys, calm down.
Hey.
Calm down. Everybody chill. And we do indeed, Rob. We have a special report. Special report here on Quick Hits. Rob, we're only a couple of weeks away from the 60th anniversary of the assassination of John Kennedy, and from what promises to be an absolutely monumental conference, which is this year's much-anticipated JFK Lancer, November in Dallas, November 17th through the 19th. So, hey, it's exactly 2 weeks away, dude.
I know. We just wrapped up our presentation last week and sent it off. It's all wrapped up nice and neat with a bow, ready to go. So, yeah, what's the big news, dude?
Well, the big news is, guys, now I want to apologize because later in this program, during the promo break, you're going to hear a Lancer infomercial that we put together, and it's going to give you all the information you need to purchase in-person tickets to Lancer. But ignore that part and pay attention to where you go to buy virtual online attendance because, ladies and gentlemen, it's sold out.
Yep. You fucked around, and it's too late now.
It is so packed. There's not even standing room. You've heard standing room only. There's not even any more standing room. Capacity crowd. As many tickets as they could sell legally, according to the fire marshal, they sold. So it's 100% sold out, which is pretty amazing. I think.
Bravo. That's a great accomplishment. It is.
For real, man. In
it is.
A sold-out conference, research conference, I'm told it's way above average.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's due to the fact that I'm speaking there this year or –
well, what else could it be, man? What else could it be? Rob's
we've been pumping this thing up for months, or, it's the 60th. It's probably because it's the 60th. I'm not going to take all the credit here. But that and the plethora of great speakers other than me and Joe who are going to be there presenting to you. Yeah, I mean, I think it's a number of contributing factors. And I think that the November in Dallas conference is headed in the right direction for the future. So bravo and congratulations to Larry Hancock and the Zedekers for
absolutely
putting this thing back on the map and selling it the hell out, baby. That's awesome.
The amount of speakers is amazing. Now, you and I, you've attended conferences, and we attended one together. At one point, we've both been there. You know how you take a lunch break. Everybody breaks for lunch, and you come back, and people kind of there. It's so busy, so many speakers, so many presentations. There will be no meal breaks. They'll have like a box lunch available. It's just,
right, and just real quick before Doug breaks into the schedule.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now, your boy, that's me, and Joe are doing our presentation, I believe, Doug, correct me if I'm wrong, at 12 p.m. on Saturday. Is that correct?
The last tentative schedule that I have, yes.
Okay. That's lunchtime, folks. But I'm telling you, don't go anywhere for lunch.
Well,
put
like
that
I say,
shit off, or go early, or bring some peanuts and put them in your pocket, because I'm telling you, you're not going to want to miss our presentation on the Martins. It is informative, entertaining, and contains new research. So you're not going to want to miss it. I'm telling you. Don't go nowhere.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're hungry, the conference has made arrangements for attendees. There is a box lunch option. Right? Literally
Sweet.
Lunch right there. So you don't have to miss any if you're there. If you're doing the virtual attendance thing, just, have your wife make a sandwich. What can I tell you?
And also
your
a new
husband,
update, Doug.
Have your husband bring you your grilled chicken salad, and just don't miss anything. You don't want to miss Rob at all.
Hey, this just came in from Kenneth. He said all of the seats will have a potty installed underneath, so you don't even have to get up from your seat. You can just slide the back of your pants down and go to the bathroom. You don't even have to leave your seat for anything at all, period.
I don't know about that, man. Bart, what do you think about that? But yeah, guys, it's sold out. It's sold out in person. That's pretty crazy. But what a fun time it's going to be. I can't wait to see Rob and Joe's presentation on the Martin stuff. But I tell you what I thought I would do, and I got Mr. Zeidecker, Mr. Kenneth, he gave me the okay to do this, is to run down this schedule of the presenters and their topics for Lancer.
Run it down.
All right. We're going to run it down for everybody. Again, this is November 17th through the – you all right, Rob? You okay? You okay? Do you need some –
Yeah, man. Goddamn, I couldn't hit the cough button fast enough.
Do you need some first aid administered to you?
Have you ever had a burp that came up from the wrong hole? Fuck. All right.
Man, I don't even think
bro.
I don't think I even want to edit that out. That's just too It's one of those magic moments, man.
Hey, leave it in, baby.
Leave it in? Okay, I will.
We go raw around here.
Whew. All right, you need a moment. You need a moment.
I'm good, man. My eyes are watering, but I'm good.
Do you have your Coke Zero handy?
I do.
Take a swig. We can take a pause. We can stop. Maybe Momo can play some music. Well,
all right.
He's not even in there.
He's probably in the bathroom.
Again? Fuck.
He loves the bathroom.
Man, dude, well, he eats so much, you know? It's just a constant cycle. It's crazy. But are you okay? Are you okay over there?
Yes.
You're doing good.
Proceed. Yes,
okay, proceed.
March forward.
Lancer, November 17th through the 19th at the Lorenzo Hotel in Dallas, Texas. This is the conference, guys. Tentatively at this point, it begins Friday, the 17th, at noon. Author Dick Russell wrote The Man Who Knew Too Much about Richard Case Nagel. His topic, revelations from the new JFK files and the Rob Reiner Soledad O'Brien podcast series. Jim Gokinar is next with The Deposition. Our friend Monica Perez Jimenez is doing an in-person presentation about her mother, Marita Lorenz. Can't wait for that. Carmine Salvestano on destruction and alteration of the JFK assassination evidence. Casey Quinlan after that at 4 p.m. And they run all the way through 10 p.m. is, I guess, when the last presentation is at 9 p.m. Begins then, and it's William Matson Law. But in between there, you have Matt Dothit, Paul Blow, Jeff Meek, our friend David Boylan. Doing a presentation on Sylvia Odio and her visitors. And if you're not aware of, real quick, Sylvia Odio, she was an anti-Castro Cuban, a Cuban exile who lived in Dallas that got a visit from three individuals on, I forget what was the date, the 22nd or the 25th of September, something like that, right, Rob? While Oswald is allegedly in Mexico City. One of them was...
Yeah, I think it was the 25th.
Yeah, one of those days. I get that mixed up sometimes. You know, one time when we first started the two podcasts, it was like podcast number 4, and it was back before I even had the technical ability to edit things. Back when our shows, we were doing that free, it was so early we were doing the free Spreaker thing with just 30-minute shows. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And I got the Odio incident date wrong. And I realized it listening back. And the show was
you
like...
had to redo everything.
I redid the whole damn thing, dude. I was like, I can't let that go out, man. You can't let that go out. But anyway.
That's how we honed our one-take Jake personas.
That's right.
You know, having to do the shit in one take, or else you're sitting there, you know, you might be 20 minutes in, you screw up, and then, oh, my God, I got to redo everything. And then again, 15 minutes in, oh, shit, I got to redo everything. and then again. And then finally you get to the point where you don't really want to do shit again and again and again and again. And you get really good at not flubbing things. So, yeah. Hence the professionalism that we imbue now.
Except when we're hacking up a pancreas on the air.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, except for that. And yet be comfortable enough with ourselves to leave shit like that in.
Yep, it's all good.
It's all
I'm
good.
only human, folks.
But David Boylan is presenting on that. And then Saturday, the next day, which would be the 18th, Rob, at 9 a.m., Larry Hancock and David Boylan. Larry Hancock, of course, he wrote Tipping Point, Someone Would Have Talked, and a multitude of great books on the subject, and the subject of intelligence operations, Entangling Oswald. Then you've got John Davies after that on the national security response to the assassination. Rex Bradford on the JFK records. Then Rex Bradford with Stuart Wexler in person. Yeah, man, talking about assassination records and accessing them. And then at noon, Rob Clark and Joe Borelli, a presentation titled the Martins, which will be virtual. Now, I happen to know Mr. Borelli will be on site to answer your questions and discuss the presentation with you. Rob will not be. He will be at home.
Yes, Joe will be there to catch the brunt of the criticism and praise for our presentation, depending on which way it goes. But no, I think we put together something really great. You know, Doug, it is so hard, and you know from personal experience, to try to cram or really pick and choose what you want to say to try to fit it into that hour-long presentation. And I don't know about you, but I mean, we had so much information and stories and everything else to go along with all this stuff that to try to cram it into an hour, not just an hour, but, you know, some 10 or 15 minute segments on a certain Martin, you know, it was crazy to do, you know, and well, I think we did a good job in getting across the highlights. And of course, moving forward after Lancer, we're going to be doing some in-depth, stuff on the Martins, on the Lone Gunman moving forward. But
well, you know, I didn't have near as much information when I did that presentation for Lancer, and I think it was 2020, I believe. I was, I guess, fortunate as opposed to you guys, where I didn't really have too much information because the case I was studying was an investigation into an alleged plot to murder Kennedy. That began on November. It was something completely separate from anything in the milieu that we normally study, you know. But the first tip came in on November 23rd of 1962, and the investigation was shut down and closed officially on November 21st of 1963. They closed the book and said there's nothing here. You know, ironically enough, you know, and so because the trail literally just went dead at that point, I didn't, you know, but you guys, I mean, you guys are going down some very interesting, heretofore unknown paths.
Yes,
lots of information.
Yeah, I mean, we found over 30 people with the name starting with a J and the last name Martin associated with this case. Not F. Martin, not P. Martin, J. Martin. 30 freaking people. And some of them are people that are very notorious that you didn't even know had a J. Martin alias. I mean, it's going to blow your mind. I mean, this is crazy stuff.
Well, I can't wait. I know your presentation is only an hour, but you're going to have, if I'm not mistaken, you correct me if I'm wrong, a longer form version of the presentation, correct?
Well, after Lancer goes down, because they will have
sometime later.
Me and Joe are gonna be doing the show live on YouTube, and I guess once a week moving forward, we are going to be going much more in depth on each of the Martins. Because I mean, dude, I could do an hour just about the interaction between the guy that filmed, you know, John T. Martin, just about his interactions with Schoner and Weisberg at the University of Minnesota. I could do an hour on that easy.
I bet.
And that's just one small aspect of one J. Martin. You know what I mean? So we might have a year's worth of shit to really go down rabbit holes and flesh all this stuff out, because there's just so much information to the story, you know, when you're trying to get to the bottom of something. You know, we've been looking into this shit for like a year and a half, and we've amassed a Dropbox full of hundreds of files, and, you know, some of these files are 200 pages long, and, you know, it's crazy.
Well, I can't wait. I'm very much looking forward to all the information, especially as it happens to involve the Martin film, for sure. And I was looking for his name, man. We had a listener, and I'll find it in a minute, that wrote us a message a text message about the Martin film. Remember when I asked you the other day for the direct link to the Martin film on online?
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe his name was Darren. Darren, thanks for the question. Thanks for the kind words. And, dude, and I'll look again on here in a minute when we take a break to make sure I got his name right. I'm sorry I'm blanking. But, dude, if you want to learn about the Martin film, you need to get your virtual ticket to Lancer. If for no other reason, for noon Central Time on Saturday, because that's when your boy there, Big Bad Bob, is going to give you some new information on the subject.
That's right.
That's right. After you, Rob, is Jeff Morley, subject to be announced.
Oh.
Yeah. Then Greg Doudna on the General Walker shooting, and then at from 2:30 to 3, myself, Larry Hancock, David Boylan, and Chuck O'Celli are doing something called the General Walker Discussion Panel, which is going to be a lot of fun. And at this point, you know exactly as much as I do about it. So, we're all going to discover together. 3 p.m., Johnny Cairns, a presentation called Assassination 60, Robert Nelson, the Don Reynolds story, Eric Hunley and Mark Grobert, to be determined. Or I guess it's Hunley. Eric Hunley and Mark Grobert.
Huh. Never heard of him.
It rings a bell. 6 p.m. is Banquet Prep on Saturday, and at 7:30 p.m., everybody's going to eat, except for Rob, because he's not going to be there. He doesn't get to eat dinner.
Oh, I'll be eating. It just won't be in Dallas.
Hey, do you want me to call you on FaceTime, and you can be there? I'll just prop my phone up on the table.
That would be interesting.
That would be interesting, for sure.
You could take me to your shoulder like a parrot. And we could just make fun of people. You could walk around and we could just make fun of people.
Yeah, man, for real. Why do I picture Beetlejuice's voice? Not the one from the movie, but the one from the internet. Who's that fucking guy? Beetlejuice.
Hey, look over there!
Beetlejuice, you know who I'm talking about?
Look at them shoes! Yeah.
Did you ever see the one of the guys like, so did you fight Muhammad Ali? And he's like drunk in the car seat, and he's like, hell yeah, I fucked him up. The guy's like, what about Jake Paul? I fucked him up too, he said. Anyway, we digress, guys. We're having way too much fun today, I think, to be serious at all. Mike Swanson is 9 a.m. Sunday, guys. I'm flying out, unfortunately. I'm going to miss a lot of awesome presentations on Sunday. At 9 a.m., Mike Swanson. At 10 a.m., Bart Camp, virtual. Alex Harris on the DCA film. I guess he means the Dallas Cinema Associates. Rob, is that right?
Yeah, the kid. That's right. And right after him, Bill Simpich, 12 Persons of Interest. Janet Groden, James Corbett, JFK from Mongoose to Gladio, Robert Groden, Alan Dale, and John Newman, Andrew Keel, Larry Schnapf, all subjects to be determined. That would be between 3 and 7 p.m. on Sunday. 7 p.m. Sunday, Brent Holland on Ted Sorensen and JFK. And finally, at 8 p.m. on the final day, Stuart Wexler, his topic to be announced. But there you go, guys. All of the, Kenneth told me, Rob, over 30 speakers, I believe, total. Yeah, that's crazy.
It's going to be crazy busy, for sure.
But it's going to be a banger.
It's going to be a banger. So, guys, stay tuned. In the promo break segment of the show, we will have there'll be the details in there on where you go. I think it's jfklancerpublications.com, I believe. To get
for the virtual tickets, you're going to need to go to assassinationconference.com to get those.
Oh, assassinationconference.com, assassinationconference.com, like your boy Big Bad Bob says, to get to get your virtual online attendance there. You can watch all the presentations. And again, they also have a more expensive option to where You can have access to view them for 30 days, or a little more expensive option, I believe, if you want to download the presentations, to a device of your choice to keep in perpetuity, if you wish. But, yes, JFK Lancers November in Dallas 2023 coming up this November 17th through the 19th in Dallas, Texas, at the Lorenzo Hotel, and online at assassinationconference.com. So there you go.
Not to be confused with No Nut November.
What is that?
That's where you don't nut for the entire month of November.
Twaddle speak, says I.
Kind of like No Shave November, but No Nut November.
Who comes up with this bullshit?
Hey, it's a thing online, man. I don't know. I didn't make it up. It's a thing.
But
I guess guys that masturbate too much, they have to get involved in No Nut November.
But why?
It's probably a Zen thing, I don't know.
I can't even wrap my head around that concept.
Maybe to fill up the gas tank again. I mean, who knows?
I just no. There's no justification for such nonsense. None. Absolutely none. Not either way, But
not related to Ace Frehley.
There's no reason for that. So there you go, Lancer. We cannot wait. For the big conference. So, Rob, the floor is yours, my friend. Moving on, as they say.
Moving on. Yes. Doug, we had a passing of a fellow researcher and author, notable, cantankerous soul, back in September that we missed, that I wanted to acknowledge here a little bit today.
Okay.
Author Ken Thomas passed away on September 22nd, 2023. And he was the author of many, let's just say, out there kind of books. And, of course, some of them on the Kennedy assassination. And I remember, well, I can tell you, one of them was called Inside the Gemstone File. Howard Hughes, Onassis, and JFK, Mind Control and Conspiracy. And NASA, Nazis, and JFK, the Torbett Document, and the Kennedy assassination. And I believe there was one other one that he had about the Kennedy assassination, but it's not coming to me right now. But anyway, here it is. JFK and UFO, Military Industrial Conspiracy and Cover-Up from Maury Island to Dallas. And, over the years and some years ago, when I got interested in a fellow by the name of Fred Christmas.
Oh, yes.
Very
absolutely,
hard to
man. Yeah.
Very hard to find information about that dude, right? So, Ken Thomas was one of the few authors that wrote books that contained information about Fred Christman and his odd stuff. But he was also, he was behind the Steam Shovel Press. It was like a online zine or online magazine for many years. And a funny story, I reached out to Ken some years ago to come on the show, and he basically told me to go fuck myself. So
really,
yeah, not in so many words, but of course he did it much more eloquently than that. But the premise was basically the same thing.
Message received, huh?
Yeah, just one of those guys, I guess, when he writes a book and he's done talking about something, he's just done talking about it. He's moved on to something else and doesn't look in the rear view. So, but yeah, and a couple of years ago, I went up to Maine and I visited the Cryptozoology Museum up there in Portland.
Oh, wow, yeah.
That Bigfoot researcher Lauren Coleman put together. And he's the author of over 35 books, this Lauren Coleman guy. And talked to him for a little bit there about this guy. Very cool. And he made a very sweet post on his blog called the copycateffect.blogspot.com, the Twilight Language blog. And he summed up Ken Thomas very, very eloquently. So if you have a moment and you would like to remember Ken Thomas and his work and contributions to the JFK assassination, please head over to the Twilight Language blog. That's copycateffect.blogspot.com, and just search for Ken Thomas and it'll pop up. But yeah, once again, gone too soon, and you will be missed, sir. Just know. But yeah, Doug, I just thought I'd wanted to put that out there.
Yes, I missed that as well. I did not know Ken Thomas had passed away. So, absolutely.
Yes, very sad story there. He definitely went before his time as a result of an accident, and it was not expected at all. So, yeah, sad stuff, but Godspeed, sir. Now you know the truth.
There you go. All right.
All right, Doug. Let's get into some. You ready to get into some Dago craziness?
We got more Dago? Oh, man. Dago, the return of Dago. That is the name.
Return of Dago.
That is the name of this episode.
Now, I mentioned this briefly, I believe, on one of the Lone Gunman podcasts I did many, many moons ago. And I came across it again in the course of searching for something else. And it kind of spurned me to revisit with you, Doug, because we always have fun when we talk about Dago together, you know. And not everybody that listens to this show listens to our individual shows. So I wanted to revisit something that we may have touched on in the past, but
yeah,
it was many moons ago, and I don't think we touched on this here. But I have here a FBI document from 1968, Doug, from Philadelphia. Okay. And this is from the special agent in charge of Philadelphia to the director of the FBI, J. Edgar Hoover.
Hoover.
Right? J. Edgar. And it states thusly: Detective Vincent Melvin of the Major Crime Division, Philadelphia. What the hell is that word? 8th and Race Streets, Philadelphia, on 6/12/68, telephonically advised that one Richard Harmon Kennett had been arrested on 6/6/66. Ooh,
wait, what?
What? 6/6/66, or maybe it's 6/6/68. Yeah, I think it's 6/6/68.
Okay.
Yes. By the above department on a fugitive warrant from the state of New Hampshire, dated 6/2/68, for violation of probation from Carroll County, New Hampshire. Detective Melvin advised that the PHPD subsequently received a teletype from the authorities in the state of New Hampshire stating that Kennett was no longer wanted for a violation of parole and that Kennett was to be discharged on June 12th, 68. Melvin advised that prior to discharge, Kennett related to him info concerning the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. In 1163, involving Lee Harvey Oswald, one Darrell Dago Garner, and Jack Ruby.
I'll be damned.
Detective Melvin advised that after Kennett had related the entire info to him, he, Melvin, thought that the FBI should be informed of this matter. So, what in the hell did Kennett tell him in freaking New Hampshire?
In 1968.
Yes.
regarding Dago, Jack Ruby, and Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yes. Okay, so Richard Harmon Kennett was a white male American born in 12/29/034 at North Candy, New Hampshire. Okay. He was interviewed in the office of the Major Crimes Division of the PHPD on 6/12/68 when he furnished the following info.
Here we go.
He is a graduate of Kennett High School, Conway, New Hampshire. Now, this sumbitch's name is Kennett, and he's a graduate of Kennett High School, Conway, New Hampshire.
Must be a small place.
Yeah, either that or he's got some highly important relatives. And has attended 1.5 years at the University of New Hampshire at Durham, New Hampshire. He is single, Doug, and he has served in the U.S. Navy during the year 1957 when he received a medical discharge because one of his balls collapsed while in the one of his lungs collapsed while in the service. He presently is residing at 4012 Spruce Street, Philadelphia, PA, and is an authority on antiquities and at times is employed as an antique salesman and manager of antique shops, Doug.
So we have an antique shop manager in New Hampshire. He's 30. He's 34 years old. He was born in 1934. This is 1968. He's either got one lung or one ball, depending on which part of the store you're at. And he's furnishing information regarding Ruby, Oswald, and Daryl Garner.
And Dago, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So, during the 3-month period of time of March, April, and May of 1967, Doug, he worked and resided in New Orleans, Louisiana.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. So during the month of April, he worked and resided at an antique shop located at 627 Dumaine Street, New Orleans, Louisiana, which shop was owned and operated by Mr. and Mrs. Richard Rolfe. That's Rolfe. Rolfe.
Richard Rolfe.
Yes. Oh, Dick Rolfe. Dick Roth. He served as an antique salesman for this antique shop and resided in the servants' quarters, which was located in the rear upper level of the antique shop. So here we have another fella sleeping in a closet inside of a building, much like Larry Crayford at Jack Ruby's bar.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah. So other persons who were employed at this antique shop were the Mrs. Richard Rolfe, age approximately 50, and her sweet, sexy daughter, Susan Rolfe, age approximately 24. And she acted as a secretary for her father, okay? Richard Rolfe, right? Age approximately 50, owned and managed the Richard Rolfe Associates, whose business address was listed as 627 Dumaine Street, which was the antique shop. Richard Rolfe is employed in public relations and works for the governor of Louisiana and formerly was one of the public relations managers for the late who the hell? Laurleen Wallace in her campaign for governor of Alabama. Didn't know they had women running for governor back in the 60s, but okay.
Hey, man.
Maybe so. Laurleen.
That was 68, right? 68? 67? Yeah. Wasn't 68 when Hunter Thompson ran for sheriff of Aspen, Colorado? So, yeah, man, the hippies were doing their thing.
All right, well, yeah. Laurleen Wallace.
Yeah.
Richard Rolfe knows former Governor George Wallace, so maybe Laurleen was a daughter of former Governor George Wallace. So that
might have been George Wallace's hippie daughter.
Kennett, while he worked for the Rolfes and resided in the servants' quarters at the above-mentioned address, became fairly well acquainted with the Rolfs and some of their associates. On one occasion during the month of April, Kennett was looking for some papers relative to the operation of the antique shop and happened to look for some of these papers in a large Bombay-type desk located in one of the rear rooms on the first floor of the antique shop. Well, while he was going through this desk, he found in the top left-hand drawer some papers in manuscript form entitled How to Be a Bounty Hunter, as told by Dago Gardner.
Oh, shit.
To Richard Rolfe.
Really?
Yeah. All right, goddamn, I'll tell you how to be a bounty hunter. Shit. All right. Being somewhat curious, he started to read this manuscript, wherein he saw a type statement by Garner which pertained to none other than Lee Harvey Oswald and Jack Ruby.
No shit.
Yeah. As he recalls, the type statement was approximately 7 to 11 pages long, more or less, divided into 3 sections. The first section dealt with a planned assassination between Lee Harvey Oswald, Garner, and Ruby under the auspices of some apparently influential persons, identities unknown. The second part dealt with discussions between Jack Ruby and Dago Garner relative to some type of, quote, big job. He does not recall specifically what the third and last part of the statement related to because he became so frightened after he read the first and second parts of this statement, and it apparently related to the assassination plans relative to the late President Kennedy. Okay. Now, in this statement, he recalls that it was mentioned that Dago Garner and Lee Harvey Oswald were very close friends. That's right. That's right. Me and old Lee, shit. We ride around with Jack Ruby. He be in the back seat just eating him stuff.
Poor Dago.
He's from my hand up Oswald's thigh. You know, we riding down the back road till I hit a bump there on his leg. And I felt a jeans jump just a little bit. Okay. He recalls that the type statement indicated that Garner knew a number of Jack Ruby's showgirls and on occasions probably worked as a bouncer or strongman. I need a strong man for Ruby.
Well, man, he obviously knew Ruby pretty well. You know,
oh yeah, intimately.
If memory serves, he knew him pretty well.
He recalled that in one section of the type statement, Ruby called Garner into his office in Dallas, Texas, where there were also present some important persons' identity not known. Ruby asked Garner if he knew of someone who could do a big job, or if he himself wanted to do a big job. Garner asked Ruby what he had in mind, and Ruby stated, "He's nuts." No, he stated the president. Kennett mentioned that this statement indicated that this occurrence happened previous to the president's visit in Dallas, Texas. Kennett cannot recall what Garner's response was to Ruby's question. Kennett became somewhat frightened after he read the above first 2 sections of the statement and hurriedly skimmed through the last section, of which he has little or no recollection. Kennett recalled that Garner worked on a riverboat and on occasions was in New Orleans and Dallas, Texas. So we have Dago Gardner here and Dago Garner. Now we know he was in Dallas, Texas.
Oh, right? Yeah, for sure.
But he apparently also spent a lot of time, and that was actually from New Orleans, Louisiana.
Yeah.
As was, Oswald. Kennett recalls Garner and Oswald were good friends, and they both used to go to homosexual parties, at which parties, were some important people, identities unknown, also were present. Kennett knows that Garner made his residence in Dallas, Texas, and had been friends with Oswald for a number of years. Kennett advised that Garner has been receiving money from D.A. Jim Garrison in New Orleans.
Oh,
Richard
really?
Rolfe. Yeah. So apparently old Jolly Green Giant was slipping dude some money via Richard Rolfe. he has seen Garner in Rolf's Antique House at 629 Domain Street, New Orleans, Louisiana, on one occasion, and on several other occasions, has seen Garner on the streets of New Orleans, Louisiana. I don't know what he was doing, but he was on the streets.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's out on the streets at one point, whether you're just walking from, going to get a sandwich. But what was he doing? When he means, like when he says out on the streets, does he mean,
wearing some tight jeans on the corner type of thing?
Like the Kiss song Black Diamond, out on the streets for a living? Like that? Does he mean that? I don't know. Or does he mean like, walking around? It's a difference.
Kenneth stated that the Rolfs reside at the Pontalba building.
Easy for you to say.
Yeah. New Orleans, Louisiana, and have their business offices at 627 Dumaine Street. Kenneth advised that he has furnished his complete knowledge of this info and the above incidents to Reverend Brennan, a priest at a Catholic church on Camp Street in New Orleans, Louisiana, for whatever reason. Kenneth advised that it was his opinion that Garner had a great influence over the Rolfs, for which reason he did not know. Kenneth stated that Mrs. Richard June Rolfe once made the statement that they, the Rolfs, were sitting on a gold mine, which Kenneth believes is the book or manuscript which Richard Rolfe is in the process of publishing. Kenneth advised that the Rolfs are influential people and have excellent contacts with politicians on a high level throughout the South. Kenneth described above mentioned Dago Garner as, are you ready for this? We have no pictures of Daryl Garner, but we finally have a description, Doug. Are you ready?
I'm ready. Lay it on me.
Oh, damn. Okay, here we go. Dago Garner, a white male American, age approximately 30.
Okay.
6 feet tall, 220 pounds, ruddy, sunburned complexion, numerous tattoos on arms, dark brown, curly, full head of hair. Speaks in a low voice. God damn, that's not Dago, I know.
Yeah, that's a different guy, man. That's a different guy.
A heavy drinker. Usually wore Western style, tight Levi's, and a sports shirt. Employed on a tugboat as an operator or as an oil refueler. He now resides in Dallas, Texas, and drives a light cream-colored 63 Chevy Impala convertible. Now, can you picture in your mind this sumbitch in a 63 Impala convertible with his shades on, his big curly brown mullet, fucking tight Levi's, and a sports
and a cream-colored 63 Impala.
Oh, yeah, man. The tattoos all over his fucking arms, burnt from the sun, sunburnt. Fucking Dago. Okay. Kenneth advised that he plans to remain in Philadelphia and that he will maintain contact with a Father Wilson, an Episcopalian chaplain at the University of Pennsylvania, 36th Street and Hamilton Walk, Philadelphia. Detective Melvin subsequently furnished info that Kenneth has a Philadelphia PD number and an alias of Forrest Bowfitch. What the fuck?
Bowfish?
Bowfitch.
Okay.
Yes. He advised Kenneth was arrested on July 6, 65 in Philly on a charge of solicitation to commit sodomy, assault and battery, and
good heavens,
assault. Yeah. The case was
all
continued
kinds
to
of
further
amoral.
notice.
That guy.
Yeah. God damn. The case was continued to further notice upon orders of Judge Gold. No present disposition is known of this case. No leads are being set forth at this time to locate and interview the above-named persons insomuch as it felt that the Office of Origin Dallas, which office has full background info relative to Dago Garner and to this matter, will be better able to set forth appropriate leads and designate any interviews to be conducted. No further investigation being conducted at the Philadelphia Division. LHM follows. So
from fashion choices to alleged crimes, Daryl Dago Garner sounds like to me an individual who just constantly made bad decisions.
Yeah, and now I'm gonna have to rethink and retool my entire Dago impression.
The whole voice. Now, from what I understand, reading those FBI reports or listening, I get the impression that an alleged assassination plot that was mentioned first and the president's assassination were what he saw in the manuscript were they're two different things. Now, did I misread that?
No, you didn't. But what the assassination itself might have been part of part 3 of the manuscript that he got scared and stopped reading. I don't know.
But
maybe the stories were just too much for him to handle. I don't know.
I got the impression that there was an assassination plot, a plot to hit somebody, and then the Kennedy assassination.
Well, no. It was all just about the Kennedy assassination.
Okay.
So what he's saying is that, as told by Daryl Dago Gardner, that Jack Ruby, Lee Harvey Oswald, and him were involved in the big hit, and it was organized by Jack Ruby, and that Oswald and Dago were involved.
So what do you think, Rob?
Well, if anybody saw somebody resembling Dago on the grassy knoll that day, I would love to hear about it.
Be hard to miss. But, I think 6 foot tall, 220, ruddy complexion, curly black hair, tattoos, that's also a pretty good description of Lauren Hall.
Yeah.
It occurred to me when I was listening. Yeah.
Minus the tight Levi's.
Minus the tight Levi's. Yeah. But I don't know if he had the back tattoo, the eagle. I don't know if Dago had the eagle.
He might have had something else spread across his back.
There is no, you gotta like sit around and wonder if that guy's sitting around, what kind of tattoo seems like a good idea to a guy like Dago?
Maybe a dragon or something cool like that,
A dragon riding a rocket ship, firing a rifle, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
With a Confederate flag. With the dragon's got a Confederate flag tattoo as well.
Exactly. Yeah. It would have a Confederate flag pattern, on its skin.
Well, speaking of Lauren Hall, Rob, after the break coming up, we're going to talk about him a little bit.
Ooh, he's one of my favorite subjects.
Yes. Would you like to, you know what I think I'm going to do? I think we're just not going to play the Lancer promo this time because you can't buy tickets anyway. And we'll just let people know. We'll stick with this, be heavy on the hot sauce in this break this time. What do you think?
Sounds good to me.
Sounds good to Rob. Hey, Bob is now going to tell you all about Silk City hot sauce right here on Quick Hits. We'll be back in a minute.
Big Bad Bob here with you for Silk City hot sauces. Why Silk City? Because this hot sauce comes to you directly from Paterson, New Jersey, also known as Silk City. These hot sauces are 100% natural, gluten-free, vegan, contain no chemicals, fillers, dyes, or junk. Everything is packed into recyclable glass containers because glass doesn't leach weird flavors into the product. All other hot sauces are sourced in small batches from locally bought fresh peppers. It's all about the pepper, people. Telling you. Your boy, Big Bad Bob, loves his food like he loves his women. Hot and spicy, but not so hot you can't eat them. So, if you love yourself some sauce and you're tired of trying to transform your bland meat into something edible, with the tip of a jar, you will transform your life forever. Head over to silkcityhotsauce.com Place an order, and upon checkout, enter the code GUNMAN. That's GUNMAN for 20% off of your entire order. You won't regret it. Thank me later. Peace.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Quick Hits. This is your boy, the Triple B, along with my buddy Doug C. That's Doug Campbell. For those of you who don't know, now you know.
Now you know.
What's up, Doug? Welcome back, sir.
Welcome. Okay, Rob. Welcome back, everybody, to the show. Rob, let's play a quick round of Who Said It. Cool?
Okay.
Play a quick round of Who Said It. All right. Who said it?
All right.
Who said this? Who once made, Rob, the following statement regarding the John F. Kennedy assassination? Here we go. There's only two of us left alive. That's me and Santos Trafficante. And as far as I'm concerned, we're both going to stay alive because I ain't going to say shit.
I can name that tune in 2 words, Doug.
Yes, sir.
That's all I needed from that quote was your first 2 words you said. I had it. Lauren Hall, everyone.
Lauren E. Hall. Lauren Eugene Hall. Anti-Castro mercenary, gun runner, drug runner, and viable JFK assassination suspect to both you and I. Right, Rob?
Yeah, that's right.
Now, for many
Highly
reasons.
suspect.
His connections, his movements, his statements, his connections to weapons and people in the milieu of the assassination, where he was, who he was running with, subsequent statements, his history, everything, things he got into, things he said, things he did after the assassination. Rob and I, this guy's at the top of our short list for participants. For me, that would be Lauren Hall, John Martino, Felipe Vidal Santiago, Roy Hargraves,
Lawrence Howard.
Lawrence Howard for sure. Just to rattle off a few names. Now, this quote, there's only two of us left alive, me and Santos Trafficante. This was just one highlight of many from an extremely interesting short telephone conversation, between Lauren Hall, an unidentified female who was with Hall, and legendary and infamous author and researcher Alan Jules Weberman. In April of AJ Weberman, the late AJ Weberman, in April of 1977.
Is he dead?
Oh, didn't I hear that? Did he pass away? Is that right?
I think he's still alive.
I don't know.
It wouldn't be the first time we killed somebody off on the show.
Who was it? Who was it? You did that too?
I don't know.
I can't remember. I can't believe we can't remember who you did that to because it was kind of funny at the time. It
was kind of funny.
But yeah,
AJ Weberman not dead yet. 78 years old.
Look that up, Momo. Look, he's fucking not in there. He's gone.
I got it. He's not dead yet.
Okay, I'm sorry. Oh my God. Dude, this shows what this episode's went off the rails a couple times, man. Should we just start over? Just start at the beginning?
Let's keep plowing forward.
I am so sorry. The not late AJ Weberman, the alive and kicking AJ Weberman. This quote was just one highlight. Let me start over. Let me do this again. This was just one highlight, this quote, of many from an extremely interesting short telephone conversation between Lauren Hall, an unidentified female who was with Hall, and the still vibrant A.J. Weberman, noted author and researcher, in April of 1977. Now, since it's not too terribly long, the transcript, and like I said, it's very interesting, Hall's behavior upon receiving a phone call from Weberman out of the blue and things he said during it. So I thought I would share it with the listeners because, like I said, Rob, it's not too terribly long, but it is very interesting, this conversation between Weberman and Hall. The date of the document is 4/22/77. This is an HSCA document. Well, actually, hang on. Now that's when the conversation took place, April 22nd of 1977. And this document is dated, this government document, of May the 24th, so a little over a month later. And I guess Hall answers the phone. Weberman says, "Mr. Hall." Hall says, "Yeah." Weberman says, "This is A.J. Weberman calling from the National Enquirer." Hall, "Pardon?" Weberman, "A.J. Weberman, I'm calling from the National Enquirer." Hall, "This is a realty company." Weberman, "Is this Lauren Hall?" Hall, "Yeah, I'm not the National Enquirer." Weberman, "I know you're not. I'm calling for the National Enquirer." Oh, okay, says Hall. Weberman, "I spoke with Gerald Patrick Hemming the other day, and he told me about a meeting that allegedly took place in New Orleans between himself and George de Mohrenschildt. I wonder if you could confirm or deny that meeting?" Hall, "What meeting is that?" Weberman, "Well, I don't know. He said that he met with George de Mohrenschildt before the Kennedy assassination." Who is Jerry Patrick Hemming? Weberman, "Do I have the Lauren Eugene Hall?" Hall, "Yeah." Weberman, "You were called before the Warren Commission, right? You were mentioned in the Warren Commission report." Yeah. Weberman, "And you don't know Jerry Patrick Hemming?" Hall, "Never heard of him. Who is that? Some left-winger?" Weberman, No. He's with the International Anti-Communist Brigade." Hall, "Well, that's a communist organization." Weberman, "International Anti-Communist Brigade?" Hall, "Yeah. I wouldn't know anybody like that. Anybody with a name like Jerry Patrick Hemming has got to be a communist or CIA." Weberman, "Well, I think this man was pretty dedicated anti-communist." Hall, "Who, Jerry Patrick Hemming?" Weberman, "Yeah." Hall, "If it's the one I heard about, he's CIA." Weberman, "Well, see, I have a document here that says you and Mr. Hemming took a rifle out of pawn that was described as being identical to the one used by Lee Harvey Oswald." Hall, "Well, I'll be darned. Who's Lee Harvey Oswald?" Weberman, "Who's Lee Harvey Oswald?" Hall, "Yeah." Weberman, "I take it you don't want to talk. So let's back up here. I have a document here that says, this is what Weberman said, that says that you and Mr. Hemming took a rifle out of pawn that was described as being identical to the one used by Lee Harvey Oswald. That's when Hall says, "Well, I'll be darned. Who's Lee Harvey Oswald?" Now, what they're talking about there, Rob, Weberman has it wrong. Hemming and Hall did not take a rifle out of pawn that was identical to the rifle found in the Texas School Book Depository. That's not what happened. Hemming and Hall was with Hemming when Hemming pawned this Johnson 30-06 rifle in Los Angeles in the early part of 1963 to a private investigator named Roy Hathcock. And this guy, Roy Hathcock, had a guy that worked for him as a PI, an employee named Roy Payne. No relation to Ruth and Michael, totally different spelling. But anyway, shortly before the assassination, Lauren Hall came back around to L.A. with Lawrence Howard and an anti-Castro Cuban named Julio Castro Alba. And behind Hemming's back, without Hemming knowing about it, took that rifle out of pawn, this Johnson 30-06. And, yes. Yeah, and then carried it back to Dallas. Now, what's so, to me, important about that, and to Rob, so both of us, I think all those years ago, Rob, you and I sort of met in an online forum discussing this very thing, actually.
That's right.
Yeah, Lauren Hall and his rival. And the next day, this happened in Los Angeles, guys. Well, the next day, 23 and a half hours after the assassination, The FBI is in Los Angeles asking these two PIs, Payne and Hathcock, about Lauren Hall and this rifle. And they knew that Roy Payne's fingerprint was on it. Fingerprints were on it. But it disappeared somewhere. And I know there are stories that ended up with a dentist out there somewhere, but as far as I know, it's never been verified. But that's what they're talking about here. But Weberman has the details a little wrong. So Weberman says, I take it you don't want to talk, after Hall sarcastically asks, who the hell's Lee Harvey Oswald? And Hall says, no, I've got nothing to talk about. Nothing to talk to you about. Anybody who associates with Jerry Patrick Hemming, Weberman, hey, I didn't say that. Hall has either got to be, Weberman cuts him off. Wait a minute. I went over there. Hall cuts him off. CIA, FBI, or an asshole. Anybody with that name, he says. So no love lost between Hemming and Hall. But I think if you study the subject, Rob, you already knew that for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Weberman tells Hall, I went over there on assignment from the National Enquirer, and, you know, the National Enquirer is also interested in speaking with you. Hall, fuck the National Enquirer. Weberman, well, you know, they pay a lot of money. Hall, what? Huh? Weberman, they pay a lot of money. Hall, hey, dude, shit. All I've heard for 14 fucking years is how much money everybody's got. Weberman, right. Hall, and I ain't never seen none of it. And all I hear in print is from DeMorenshield and the asshole Altman and Jerry Patrick Hemming and Mort Saul and all the fuck-ups of the world. Altman, who's he talking about there? Is he talking about Willem Altmans? The guy, yeah. DeMorenshield's, some say keeper. Lover, keeper, some say handler, you know. He definitely had a close relationship with DeMorenshield, but I guess that's who Hall's talking about here. Ted Rubenstein's very interested in what Altman might know. You know?
Well, fun fact, Doug, William Altman played George DeMorenshield in the movie JFK.
Yes, I knew that. And I think that's crazy. And I haven't known that for long. I think it may have been, it was either you or Ted that told me that. I can't remember, but Weberman says, hey, I've got a book out, too. I've got a book out on the John Kennedy assassination. Hall, screw all of them. Ain't nobody going to put nothing in print from me. I've had a book printed, and the FBI, the CIA, and the IRS has got it stopped 3 different times. Weberman, no kidding. Hall, it cost me $48,000 in taxes. Weberman, incredible. Hall, so don't even talk to me about none of that horse shit. Weberman, I had a book that was suppressed, too, called Coup d'etat in America. It's on the assassination of John Kennedy. I had pictures of the tramps they picked in Dealey Plaza. Hall, oh, what tramps? Weberman, tramps, the tramps. Hall, what tramps? Weberman, the ones that look like Howard Hunt and Frank Sturgis. Hall, shit, Kennedy was a tramp. At this point, the unknown female voice with Hall chimes in. Lauren. Hall says, yeah. She says, that book was not for press. We saw it. Weberman, coup d'etat? Hall, you bet. It's in the library right here in Long Beach. Weberman, well, that's good. Female, well, you just lied. Weberman, no, I didn't just lie. It was suppressed. You didn't see any national reviews on it, did you? It wasn't in the New York Times Book Review, female, but it's in print. Hall, it was in hardback at the library. So that's interesting that Hall is definitely keeping up with the literature in the case.
Oh, yeah.
You know? He knows what books have been released and when. I find that interesting. Weberman said, yeah, news of my book was suppressed. And then my publisher went bankrupt. Hall, well, so did my publisher, Turkey. Weberman, Turkey. This is the 70s, guys. Jive Turkey, remember? Weberman, yeah, well, your book was Hall. He was caught with his ass up 2 weeks ago. Weberman, well, it's amazing that news of your book was stopped by. Hall says, hey, Nobody puts in print anything that I have to say, okay? Nobody. Nobody's going to pay me for it. Nobody's going to print anything, and that's fine. You know, hey, I ain't in no hurry to get my head blown off. Weberman, I see. I see they've got Hemming on these days. Hall. Hemming is a CIA punk, okay? I've known that SOB for 14 years. He turned his own goddamn cruise in so he wouldn't have to go to Cuba. He's fingered me on my own goddamn deals and caused me to get arrested. Female, Lauren, don't tell him nothing. We should have done this like an on-air play and let you do the female voice. You're great at voices. Female, Lauren, don't tell him nothing. Hall goes, fuck. Female, don't bother to call here anymore. Weberman, I won't. This is the first time I called you here, you know. Female, well, after the hatchet job that's already done on him. Hatchet job? Is that you, Jim? Well, after the hatchet job that's already been done on him in other papers, that's it. Weberman, yeah, but did I do a hatchet job on him in coup d'etat? Hall, what? Weberman, did I do a hatchet job on you in coup d'etat? Female, well, the thing is, we don't need to see his name in print anywhere. Hall, hey, man, right as it stands now, there's only 2 of us left alive. That's me and Santo Trafficante. And as far as I'm concerned, we're both going to stay alive because I ain't going to say shit. Weberman, all right, I don't want to endanger you. Hall, I ain't going to let no asshole come and blow me away. Weberman, right, all right. I can understand that, you know, but, you know, you probably are on that witness list to be called. Hall, no, I'm on no goddamn witness list to be called. Shitface. Nobody's going to listen to anything I say because nobody wants to hear it. Weberman, no, they want to hear it. From my sources on the committee, you're on the witness list. You're scheduled to be called. That's the House Select Committee on Assassinations. Hall, oh, they're just a bunch of left-wing assholes that are trying to get a feather in their cap and be able to live for the next 2 years off the taxpayers. And they're not going to do a damn thing, just like the church committee, just like Garrison. Hey, the whole ramrod is all bullshit. They're going to ask me if I've ever been in Florida. I'm going to say yes. They say, did you enjoy it? I'm going to say yes. And they say, all right, go home. That's what it's going to amount to. That was not a true statement on Lauren Hall's part. That is not what it amounted to, much, much more. Weberman, well, there's some really crazy things going on, like Carlos Prio's suicide, DeMorenshield suicide, William Pauly's suicide. Hall, who are they? Weberman, they are, Hall, I know who they are. Pauly was the ambassador to Peru. We used his boat on a raid to try and put a hit on Castro. Now, right there, he's talking about Operation Red Cross or Operation Tilt. It was also called the Tilt mission. The Bio-Pauly raid. Lauren Hall was involved in that. Female. Lauren, don't tell him anything. Weberman. So Hemming's been indicted yesterday for possession of a silencer. And Hall cuts him off. Hemming is CIA. Weberman. Gordon Novell has been indicted for firebombing Hall. Who? Weberman. There was an assassination attempt against Rabel. He was in the hospital a couple of weeks ago for self-inflicted gunshot wounds. Hall. Who gives a shit? Weberman. I'm saying if you should... Hall. Only thing I'm saying is any of you assholes come near me, you better have a fucking army with you, baby, because I've got my shit together. And I'll blow the first one of you motherfuckers away that even comes near me. And you can put that in print. Click. End of conversation.
Maybe the greatest interview of all time.
Definitely an interesting interview. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And whoever it will, whether it be Weberman or whoever it was that shone the light on that quote. Only 2 of us are left alive, me and Santos Trafficante, and we're both going to stay alive because I'm not going to say shit. whoever noticed that and brought that to the attention of the research community should be commended, because I think that's an important statement.
Damn straight.
Damn straight.
And for those of you with total recall, I love to point out some of the synchronicity that me and Doug have with this show. I had no idea what Doug was going to be bringing here in the second segment. But in the first segment, when we were going through the Lancer things and you mentioned Huntley and Gruber, I did the Lauren Hall Jedi mind trick on him. I said, never heard of him.
You did what now?
Remember when you mentioned Huntley and Gruber when you were going through the Lancer thing, and I said, never heard of him.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was my Lauren Hall.
Dude,
little jig.
You fooled me.
And you totally did the interview where he said that. That's awesome. Synchronicity,
just
folks.
Just deny. But that happens more than people think, too. You know what? That happens more than people think. Or it happens, I tell you, it happens with Ted. You know? I'll be prepping.
Huntley CIA. Or an asshole.
Who's that, Ted?
No, Huntley.
Oh, okay. Definitely a communist?
Gruber's a communist.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you know what, Rob? I ain't going to say
Yes,
shit.
sir.
I'm like Hall. I ain't going to say shit.
Well, I know this. Any one of them motherfuckers come gunning for me, they better have their shit together.
Because
I'll
they
be
better
waiting.
have an army, because Bob's got his shit together, baby. All right, Rob's publisher went broke too, motherfuckers.
How much money would you pay to read Lauren Hall's book?
Wow, man. How much money would you pay to sit for a half hour with Lauren Hall and he has to tell the truth to every question you ask?
Oh, man.
Like a true serum type thing. 30 minutes with Lauren Hall and you get nothing but the truth out of him.
Wow. Yeah, that'd be something.
That would be something. You know, other people the same way. Felipe Vidal Santiago, 30 minutes to talk to him. And John Martino together. Yeah. I believe you could get most of it. The plot and a lot of the frame up of Oswald. And it goes back again, and I know there are people out there going, well, what about Lansdale? What about Dulles? See, that's my fundamental, and I'm just saying this because it crossed my mind. It's on my heart to say, but when I say shit like that, Rob, and you know what I'm talking about, like you sit with Lauren Hall for 20 minutes, and he's got to tell you the truth. Lawrence Howard, oh, my God, right? Right.
Yeah.
What you could learn, and the thing is, I think the big mistake we make is assuming that the people who covered the truth up did so because they were in on the setup and the frame up and the assassination. I think it was self-preservation reasons why the powers that be covered up what a small group of highly trained, pissed off people did. Yeah. And I think that people like Hall, Martino, and Santiago were in that small group of people,
Yeah.
And Ted and I, speaking of synchronicity, Ted and I were just talking earlier this week on the phone about, we were discussing that whole thing about the break-in, this cat Corky Houston who broke into Lauren Hall's house and stole some things.
The black bag job, yeah.
Yeah. We were discussing how it's a shame we never followed up on that and brought closure to it. That whole thing, real quick for everybody, it's in the Weisberg archives. There's a whole story, letters between Billings and Dick Billings from Life magazine and Weisberg and this guy Corky Houston about, apparently this guy Corky Houston, a guy named John Corky Houston, pulled a black bag job on Lauren Hall's house in the late 60s during the time of the Garrison investigation and allegedly got material pertinent to the assassination and the investigation. And it's kind of cloudy whatever happened to it. He tried to give it to Garrison. Miguel Acoca tried to get it, may have gotten it, may not have. And the whole subject was making Harold Weisberg very, very, very nervous during the week that Lauren Hall testified with blanket immunity to the House Select Committee on Assassinations. He seemed to be scared shitless that somebody knew that he either had this material at one time or did have it or might have received it. But it's very intriguing, and maybe that's something I'll go back and look at again. But like I say, that quote's famous. A lot of people have heard it. A lot of people have heard the quote. There's only two of us alive, me and Santos Traficante, but maybe don't know exactly who said it. A lot of people know who said it, but weren't familiar with the interview or the context, so I thought I'd pass that along to everybody, Mr. Rob, and add a little bit of subliminal suggestion there and synchronicity at the beginning of the show, because you did fool me. You absolutely pulled a Hall on me, 100%.
Yeah, that was my Hall recall, and then you brought it up the exact interview that he used it in, and I'm like, holy shit, totally not planned.
And I just decided on that for the second half of the show. I guess would have been a week ago yesterday is when I finally settled on that, and I wanted to share that with everybody. So cool. That's when I put it out in the universe, baby.
Yep, that's how you know this show's meant to be.
That's right. So, I hear tell that you ran across something amazing and funny and crazy on the internet, Rob. Is this true?
Yes, Doug, on Facebook.
Oh, Facebook. You know what that means. You know what? It's time for Facebook Shenanigans.
There you go.
Facebook Shenanigans, everybody. Been a while since we've done this, Rob. Been a while.
Yeah. You know, I'm guilty, Doug. I'm not. I don't get on Facebook as often as I used to. I don't peruse the discussion groups as often as I used to. But every once in a while, I'll see something that catches my eye, and I will admit this was a pretty fantastical story. The pictures first got me, okay? So there's a picture of a tiny foldable rifle that fits in the palm of your hand, okay? Black and white, and it has little pellets that it shoots, right? And then there's a picture of the sewer opening there behind Dealey Plaza. And then there's a picture of a midget named Charles Goodell, who looks like a mafia tough guy, shrank to about 2'7". Midget. And then, yeah, a little person. Sorry, now, be politically correct here.
I know you're aware of this, but my favorite funny videos to watch on the internet involve tiny people.
Yes.
Yeah. I just, little, I don't want to say midget pratfall videos, but, or just, they amuse me. They amuse me.
So some other pictures here is
I got to make you know what, man? I got to make a confession while it's on my mind. Next to the place I work, the building I work, they've been putting up this new condo, right? They tore this old building down and putting up this new condo. And there's a little person that is one of the superintendents of the job. And, dude, he wears little work boots, a little vest, little jeans, little hard hat. And every now and then, just because I think it's funny, I'll take a random picture of him, like, walking around the job with a walkie-talkie and just send it to my son, just random. Just a picture of this midget in a yellow vest. And with no context whatsoever because it amuses me. And I don't think that makes me a bad person.
Not at all.
Okay, good. I'm sorry, go ahead.
We have a picture of a midget playing baseball, a half-eaten sandwich, another picture of the sewer opening in the street on Elm Street on Dealey Plaza, and then a shot of the book, The Wonderful Wizard of Oz, by Frank L. Baum.
Well,
Okay?
you had me at midget playing baseball.
Well, yeah, these are the pictures that jumped off the page at me as I'm scrolling by. I'm like, what in the hell does all this have to do with JFK? Is this some kind of other crazy ass fucking story, right? So here's how it starts off. It says, has anyone read Sewer Shot, The Little Man Behind a Big Murder by Mark Looney, MD, and Robert Gorgon? It should be on the bookshelves of anyone who harbors doubts about the findings of the Warren Commission and wishes to learn the true story behind the Kennedy assassination. At the risk of spoiling it, I will give a brief synopsis and review of this fascinating book. While the book offers some new and shocking information, the author's meticulous research surprisingly backs up a few of the Warren Commission's most important findings, including the so-called magic bullet theory and Oswald's culpability. And like the Warren Commission, the authors conclude that Oswald did fire 3 shots, but that's where the similarity ends. Gorgon and Looney are respected experts in the field of ballistics and crime scene reconstruction. They postulate that there were 2 assassins in Dealey Plaza. One was Lee Harvey Oswald, and the other was a 3-foot 2-inch midget and CIA operative named Charles Goodell. Oswald's first shot was a squib round that made a big sound but really went nowhere. The second shot struck Kennedy in the back, exiting his throat and tumbling into Connally. Then a hurried third shot was fired at approximately frame 307-308 of the Zapruder film that missed its mark completely and traveled across the grassy median, struck a curb, and injured James Tague. Now, just as Oswald's third shot missed its mark, Goodell fired a single shot from a sewer drain along the north side of Elm Street. Contrary to similar sewer theories, the authors of Sewer Shot conclude that the shot was fired from behind the president's limo, not from in front of it. Goodell's sewer shot struck Kennedy in the back of the head, causing it to explode outward and upward, as seen in the Zapruder film at frame 313. Witnesses mistook the fourth shot as an echo, which explains why so many people reported hearing only 3 shots. The author surmised that Oswald mistakenly believed that his third shot had actually connected, which explains his hasty flight from the TSBD and his desperate shooting of Officer Tippit. Ironically, Oswald went to his grave thinking he killed Kennedy. The author's discussion of the ballistics behind the assassination is fascinating and a must-read for gun aficionados. Gorgon especially knows his stuff, which has been evident in his previous appearances in several JFK documentaries. He has been heralded as a genius by no lesser authorities than Geraldo Rivera and Jesse Ventura.
Oh, well, that settles it.
Yeah. So who was Charles Goodell, the midget assassin? Charles Milton Goodell was born in St. Louis, Missouri in 1928. He was the illegitimate son of an unwed seamstress and the younger brother of Eddie Goodell, who was also a midget. The elder Goodell brother had the distinction of being the smallest player ever to appear in a Major League Baseball game. This was in connection with a 1951 stunt by Bill Veeck, owner of the St. Louis Browns. Veeck hired Goodell for 1 game. Goodell's extremely small strike zone led to a walk on 4 pitches in his one and only at-bat. One might wonder how a 3-foot-tall midget became embroiled in a plot to assassinate the president.
One might.
Charles Goodell was certainly an unlikely assassin. In the late 50s, Goodell moved to Dallas, Texas, where he found work at a candy factory called Tootsie's Treats. He had a few friends and lived alone in a rented dollhouse in South Dallas. On the weekends, Goodell moonlighted as a professional wrestler known as the Killer. Other than that, not much else is known about him. In July of 1963, Goodell was approached by the CIA in connection with a assassination plot involving Fidel Castro's 37th birthday party. The idea was to have Goodell jump out of a birthday cake with a machine gun and spray the dictator full of lead before escaping through a toilet. Eventually, the CIA found the plan to be too impractical and abandoned.
Can you imagine that starring Hervé Villechaize?
Say hello to my little friend.
No, it's say hello to my little friend.
Undeterred, CIA Director Allen Dulles decided to switch directions and plan a similar scheme involving Kennedy. But Kennedy's birthday party wasn't until the following May, so Dulles grew impatient and opted for Plan B. Plan B involved the president's trip to Texas. And after several meetings, Dulles persuaded Goodell to sneak into the Elm Street sewer line in the wee hours of the morning before Kennedy's visit to Dallas. Goodell, who felt that he could never measure up to his famous brother, jumped at the chance to do something big. Therefore, in the early morning hours of November 22nd, 1963, Goodell climbed into a sewer drain and waited hours for the motorcade to arrive before firing the fatal shot that changed the course of history. Goodell almost didn't get away with it, though. Captain Will Fritz suspected there was a second assassin and had a hunch that the fatal shot had come from one of the two sewer drains along the north side of Elm Street. On December the 3rd, 63, 11 days after the assassination, Fritz and an employee of the Dulles Water and Sewer Authority searched the two sewer drains. The search of the sewer drain closest to the R.L. Thornton Freeway Express sign produced a miniature Pafani rifle along with a half-eaten sandwich, an empty Coke bottle, a flashlight, and a copy of L. Frank Baum's The Wizard of Oz. Before the items could be dusted for fingerprints.
So he, waiting for the motorcade, he bided his time reading about what other little
Goodell
people.
to sneak into the evidence room through the heating ducts and abscond with the evidence. Following the assassination, Goodell became mysteriously wealthy and quit his job at the candy factory. He moved from Dallas to Key Biscayne, Florida, where he bought an 8-bedroom mansion and a swimming pool. He took up with a retired circus performer and part-time prostitute named Pinky Rose, who was also a midget. They became respected members of the Miami high society and were often seen at charitable galas and the circus, where they usually had front row seats. Unfortunately, Goodell's story did not end well. Like his older brother, Goodell was a drinker and a gambler, and within 2 years, he was flat broke again. He attempted to earn a living by selling cigarettes at the Fontainebleau Hotel and shining the shoes of his wealthy Key Biscayne neighbors, and he eventually lost his house to foreclosure. In October of 66, Goodell returned to Dallas without Pinky and reluctantly went back to work at the candy factory. Then on January the 3rd, 1967, Goodell was found floating face down in a boiling vat of saltwater taffy. Coincidence? Like so many JFK witnesses and suspects, Goodell died a mysterious death. Ironically, he died on the same day as Jack Ruby. I highly recommend this book to the serious JFK researcher and conspiracy theorist. You can purchase it for $12.95 on Amazon or read it for free on Kindle Unlimited. Here's the link. Amazon.com/sewershot, the little man behind the big murder. Keywords equal JFK plus conspiracy plus theorists plus R plus gullible plus morons. So, kudos to you, Todd Morrow, for what might be the Facebook post of the year.
Respectable, sir. Respectable. There you go. That was masterfully done. Well played.
Yeah.
Well played.
He almost got me there, I tell you. I was in hook, line, and sinker.
Yeah. I was going, what? Wait a minute. He worked at a candy factory, and it was just something. Too many coincidences. He was watching Little People. He was reading about Little People. He worked at a candy factory.
Too much detail there.
Yeah. I was wondering if you were actually. Wait a minute. Are you sure this isn't about Pierre Lafitte? Because, it some of it there's similarities. I think. No? Okay. What kind of emails you got there, Rob?
Play the goddamn jingle.
Pierre Lafitte?
No, the email jingle.
Le croissant.
Okay, the email jingle is on the way.
Le croissant.
Go ahead, sir, please.
All right. Hold on. I'm fucking crying over here. Okay. Let me pull myself together here.
Thanks, Bart.
And reach down in the old sack.
Rob's sack. It's a legendary sack at this point.
I love pulling my sack. All right. All right, here we go.
Hey, Rob? Rob,
Yes.
do we really
Yes.
want to upload an episode with this much tomfoolery right before the conference?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That's what we do, homie. We entertain.
We do.
And we also ask and we also receive. So, based on last month's email selections and stating that we missed them. So, our first email comes from Jones Mellons. Hey now.
Jones Mellons is back.
Hello, dear Robert and Douglas. I heard your call for an email in the last show. I've given a lot of deep thought to a question for you. Yes, I've been thinking about you both long and hard. You've done a great expose on the lives of Fletcher Prouty. I wonder how history might have been different if this charlatan had not been given so much publicity. As I remember it, wasn't Oliver Stone's JFK slanted heavily towards mafia involvement before Prouty was introduced into the mix? And the whole Mr. X thing and intelligence agency involvement was then made a central theme? Considering JFK eventually spawned the ARRB and whatnot, how things might have turned out different and focused in a different direction if Prouty had never been inserted into this whole thing. Must go and wash my melons now. They are whoppers this season. Sincerely, Jones Mellons.
I think that, I don't know, history would be different, but there would be a lot of things that people kind of, for some reason, take for granted that are true that wouldn't be viewed that way. I'll say that. But there's any number of things. And what you got to worry about, I think, is not just Prouty, but anything that there's only one source for. Any allegation there's only one source for. You know, and
especially any fantastical allegation.
Yeah, but there's only one source for it. An example is, and this came up recently in an online forum. Again, I engaged a little bit, but the notion that, like Prouty said, that the Bay of Pigs Operation Zapata was named after George Bush's company, right? Well, and here's a symptom of the Prouty thing. Well, I guess you could call it discussing and debating it with a Prouty defender online. The amount of times that was repeated in books suddenly made it true. You know what I mean, Rob? Like,
I get that all the time. You haven't read any of his books. Again, just because it's in a book doesn't make it true, people. I mean, Judith Very Baker has written several books. None of it makes what her story is true.
Well, this guy, it might have been the same guy. He was going, would say, okay, read this document, and this document that talks about how the operations got their names. Forget about what Prouty said because it's not true because of this. Well, yeah, but this here, and instead of a document from an archive that presents something different, their argument uses someone else who put it in a book. Well, and then, it's in this guy's book too. If somebody makes an allegation or spreads things that are not based on fact, that are not factual, if 45 people put it in their book, it doesn't change the fact that it's not true. Right. And the thing about like that, right? I firmly believe Prouty was the source of that. The other thing about Alan Dulles being the one that got General Ed Lansdale his promotion, right? The original source of that allegation, of that story, was Prouty's letter to Jim Garrison, right? Well, that is the originating source for that story. There's no other corroboration anywhere in the universe. Has it been repeated in 10 or 15 or 20 books as having happened? Yes. It has been repeated over and over and over and over and over again. But it ain't true. It was Roswell Gilpatrick. And if you read primary resource documentation and you go to the Kennedy Library and you read the oral histories, they tell you all about Roswell Gilpatrick and Lansdale and Lemnitzer and the whole thing that went down there, LeMay. But people don't do that. Yeah. But you can. What I'm saying is, you can provide that documentation, that citation, that proof. Well, it doesn't matter because this guy put it in a book. Okay, whatever. And what I'm saying is, I think history would be different in that Jones Mellons, in that there wouldn't have been near as much deflection. Things that are not true that have been assumed to be true. What's that old thing, Rob? You repeat a lie enough, it becomes true.
Yeah.
And it's like Walt Brown said. I mean, Prouty was the master. He knew just enough how to give you just enough coincidental tidbits of information, right, to get you hooked and to get you interested. And then he was really clever, Walt said. Then he would go, but you know what? You're smart. You can figure it out, man. You know the score. You can figure it out.
Right.
You go away and think about it and come back, right? And then you go away and you think about it and you come back and says, well, does it mean this, and this? Why, yes, it does. Look how bright you are. Uh-huh. Yeah, buddy. He was the master at it. That's the story I got anyway. But, yeah, I know I went all the way around the world to answer your question there, Ms. Mellons. Sorry about that, but I think how would history be different?
Well, I think the JFK movie would be different without Prouty's assertions inserted into it.
But not much.
In this way, not much.
not much. Yeah.
The book was heavily based on Garrison's book on the Trail of the Assassins.
Yeah.
And, of course, Garrison believed the CIA was behind the assassination as well. But as far as specific, Prouty allegations showing up in the movie, it is disconcerting for sure.
And, there was a lot of stuff, a lot of things that Stone got from Prouty that were not included in the final shooting version after Dr. Newman got there.
Right.
There's a lot of
stuff. Look at all the stuff that did make it in.
Yeah. But Dr. Newman was, kind of brought some problems up, and thankfully cooler heads prevailed in the production camp. And there were a lot of things that were going to be in the movie that did not end up in the movie, thankfully, thanks to Dr. Newman,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Things would have definitely been different, for sure.
Still a fantastic damn movie. Oh, my God.
Yeah. All right, next up we have an email from Poof Patch.
Hey, it's been a while.
That says, please see the attached. So I click the attached. I open it up, and it is a picture, a black and white picture at night of the other side of the railroad overpass. Now, I have no context whatsoever for these pictures or why he sent them or why they sent them. I don't know. The only thing I can surmise, Doug, would be this, that there's been a lot of assertions of people running down a grassy embankment on the other side of the triple overpass, right?
Yeah.
But it would appear to me in this picture that there's a 20-foot high concrete wall that is directly on the other side of the triple overpass or underpass or whatever you want to call it. And there is not a grassy embankment there unless you get down the road a little bit further. But I would say that at least the first 20 or 30 feet of the road on the other side of the railroad overpass there is partitioned off by 20-foot high concrete walls. as high as the overpass itself. So, yeah, I'm not sure the context or why this was sent. So, Poof Patch, clear this shit up next time you email us, and put a little context in your next email. That'd be great. So
may we please have a clarification email, sir? Thank you.
Yes, or madam. We don't know. Poof Patch could mean a lot of things.
It could mean very many things. Yes.
I remember, Doug, I'm sure you do too, growing up in the 70s and going to the public pool, you would see a lot of poof patches sneaking out the side of bikini bottoms at the public pool back in the 70s. But I digress.
Yeah, that's pretty much the only reason we went, huh? Let's be honest.
Oh, hep high.
Oh, man.
Oh, all right. Next up, we have an email from Bill Reed, and he has a question about Jack Ruby. It says, "Hi guys, thanks for your time and research. On Friday night, Henry Wade stated to the press that Oswald belonged to the Free Cuba Committee. Ruby corrected him by saying, no, it's the Fair Play for Cuba Committee. Why would it matter to Ruby what Oswald belonged to, and how would he know? I think the answer to this question would answer why Ruby killed Oswald. Thanks, guys. I'll be listening to the conference presentation." Awesome, Bill.
The Free Cuba Committee was an anti-Castro organization, right? As opposed to the Fair Play for Cuba Committee, which is a pro-Castro organization.
Well, they might have both been pro. I don't know.
Yeah. But, he is right that it is interesting. Like he's asking the question, well, why did Ruby correct him?
And how did Ruby know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Those are two very important questions.
Yeah, but you know what? I want a listener, Mr. Reed, that's a hell of a good question. Why did Ruby correct him? Right? I mean, is it really... Does it matter that much? If he's stalking Oswald, exactly, why does it matter? Why was it important to Ruby that he got that right in that moment? Yeah, that's pretty crazy. I don't think I've ever actually thought about that. Like, why?
Well, more intriguing to me is how the hell he knew. I mean, sure, he could have been paying really close attention to the very first, news pieces coming out about Oswald and committed to memory the name of this organization as being the Fair Play for Cuba Committee, and just being one of those guys in class that was always wanted to point out how much smarter he was than you.
He knew
actually that's the Fair Play for Cuba Committee.
That was ingrained in him enough to where he instantly heard the mistake, and his reflex was to correct him.
Right.
That's how intimate, and he nailed. It's not the Play Fair for Cuba Committee. He didn't even kind of mess it up. He got it exactly right.
Exactly right.
Exactly right. But why?
Why though? But also why? Why?
Why?
Yes.
Damn good question.
That's all I had emails, Doug. It was a pretty sparse fucking month. I'm pretty disappointed at our listeners. Please do better next month, folks. Get them in here. I mean, this is your chance to have your emails read, heard, and commented on this show.
That's right. That's right. And hey, Darren McCarthy is the listener's name who sent us the message via social media asking me for the link to the Martin film that you were so kind as to send me that I could send to him. I told him I would answer his question on the air, but he didn't really have a question, and I kind of already answered it by sending him the link. So I'll just say, Mr. Darren, thank you for listening, sir, and thank you for the kind words. He really likes us, Rob.
Good.
Yeah.
As he should.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no reason not to not like us.
That's right.
We're funny, we're entertaining, we're informative. We're one of the most listened to JFK podcasts in the world. What's not to love? What's not to love?
Everything's to love. Our drip is immaculate as well.
Yeah. And if you would like to have your email or you have a question send it on to quickhitsjfk@gmail.com, and we shall address it live on the air without reading it first.
That's right. Rob likes to surprise me. Rob likes to surprise himself because he has no idea what's coming either.
Yeah, I don't read them either beforehand. So
he actually does have an intern up there where he lives that's supposed to do that stuff, but his intern doesn't pay him any more attention than Momo does me. You know?
Yeah, no, it's very disappointing. Good help is hard to find, I'll tell you.
Impossible.
Especially when you don't pay him shit.
Yeah, really. Really. But look at the experience you're gaining. That's what I tell him.
Exactly. You know.
All right. Well, Rob, you and I have an appointment at the top of the hour. So it's about time we get on out of here where we can take a little break, huh?
Sounds good to me, sir.
Sounds good to me. Well, hey, Momo, hit the music. Boom, there's the music, Rob. Go ahead, sir.
All right, folks. For more things, the Triple B, that's me, Rob Clark, and the Lone Gunman Podcast, hit me up on socials at the Lone Gunman 7. You will find me just about everywhere using that moniker. Also, I would implore everyone to head to YouTube and search for the Lone Gunman Podcast. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel because I'm telling you, after Lancer, the show will be going live, and me and Joe Borelli are going to be doing a plethora, a milieu, an adieu, a croissant of Martin episodes just for you that may take us well into the next year. So make sure you head over to YouTube, subscribe, hit the little bell to get notified when we go live, and much appreciated there. Douglas.
Thank you very much, sir. And you can find my show, The Dallas Action, presented by Wall Street Window, all over the place. Just Google it, y'all. Anywhere you find quality podcasts, ongoing research, study, critical thought and analysis regarding the people, places, things, events, and ideas connected to the JFK assassination. The Dallas Action, presented by Wall Street Window, like this show. Another fine podcast from Drop D Podcast Productions in the heart of Music Row, Music City, USA. So for Rob Clark and Momo Scaranucci, this is Doug Campbell urging you to tune in again next time, guys, when Rob will turn to that guy who gave his 2019 conference presentation wearing a suit jacket and sweatpants and say,
how many brats did you have? How many filet sandos did you have? And how many pork loin sandwiches did you murder?
Go buy some hot sauce.
We are out.
Peace.